Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Well, I think the mute is very unfair, and I think it's very bad that they're not talking about foreign affairs. They're supposed to be talking about foreign affairs, and I think that the anchor is a very biased person. Her parents are very biased, but that's my life. In the meantime, that's the White House standing behind me, right? Mr. Trump, preparation? Yeah, I do prep. I think the mute is very unfair.
Unfair tonight, round two. Two old codgers will enter, and both will leave. They'll just walk away, and they'll go do their own thing afterwards. Nothing comes out of this as far as there's no fight to the death. Political death, maybe, but not the literal death. Although, let's be real, both of them are on they're playing the last few rounds in their life. Chad, I'm just being honest. Now, who watches tonight? That's a fair question. Because if you are a Trump supporter, does it matter? You want to see him maybe lay waste. These are supposed to be for people to make up their mind. So how many of the 60, 70, 80 million people who tune in tonight are there to actually have their mind solidified because they've not yet cast a ballot? We're over 45 million people who've already voted. So let's take a look at this. You're going to get a large portion of people who are just political wonks are going to want to watch this thing. You're going to get a large portion of people who know who they're voting for. They haven't voted yet, but they are curious about the mute button. They won't stay the whole time, but they're curious about the mute button. How does it work? So wait, you ask him a question, and then he gets to yammer on for a few minutes, and then you open up both mics, and they can fight over each other, and then you ask the other guy a question, and the other guy who just answered his first question, his button's mute? Okay. Oh, this will be interesting. So there'll be some looky-loos just to see. But after a few minutes, and they'll just leave. You're going to have the dumpster fire watchers. These are the people I like to go. They're the people who love to, like on their Instagram and any of the stories on YouTube, they like to watch the plane crash. They like to watch the train crash. They want to see, is there going to be another mess? Is this going to be another show? Maybe. I don't know. And then you'll have a small group of people who've not yet mailed in their ballot, yet received a ballot, because they're going to go on that day to actually vote. How big is that group? That's the trillion-dollar question. I don't know how big that group is. I think the last election, 2016, that group was fairly large. It's much smaller now. We know who Biden is. We know who Trump is. It's 47 years with Biden. You've got almost 4 years with Trump as president. We know who they are. Are you over the show? Or can you handle another 4 years of it? Do you want somebody who's going to come in and he's had 47 years? He's going to be, he says he's not even going to be the stopgap, right? He thinks he's running for this for the long haul. That includes another, if he wins, another run at it in 4 years as the incumbent. I don't know how real that is. But you have a small group of people. Even if it's, it may only be 1 or 2%. And it's got to be specific people. At this point in time, know this. Each one of these candidates is no longer talking to you or you or you or you, or they're talking to probably 500,000 to 1 million voters in certain states that will sway this election. That's who they're talking to. They're not talking to anybody else, but those people in particular. And people say, how can anybody be in a position to not know who they're voting for after 3.5, almost 40 years of Trump, and after 47 years of Biden and 8 years as him as vice president? How can you not be in that position? For the people out there, some people, it's not the Republican Party, it's Trump himself that they're looking at. some people out there, it's not Biden, but they're worried about the people in the Democratic Party overriding Biden. I don't care who you vote for. Just make an informed decision. That's it. That's all I've ever asked. That's what I tell my kids. That's what I tell my little brothers and sisters. Some of them getting ready to make their first vote ever. And I just said, you guys make an informed decision. And they'll come and ask me questions. And a lot of the stuff they ask has very little to do actually with the presidential side of things. That's what makes me happy, is because they're asking me questions about the props, questions about certain things in the area that they're in. But tonight is about 800,000 to 1 million voters that will be tuning in, worried, is Biden going to get overrun by the Democrats? And can I handle another 4 years of Trump? That's it. The rest of everybody else has made up their mind. Can you sway those people tonight? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Guess what? What are people going to be talking about? Well, they talk about a lot of different stuff, Chad. Well, we're going to touch on the Hunter Biden thing here in a second. But today, Thursday, not just debate night, but jobless claims. How are we looking?
The Labor Department reports that 55,000 fewer Americans filed first-time claims for jobless benefits in the last week than in the week before. Still, 787,000 initial claims were submitted, nearly 3 times as many as the same period last year. The largest increases came in California, Illinois, and Massachusetts.
And guess what? California clamping down even harder. Riverside County, one of the bigger counties in the country yesterday, got put on the most stringent lockdown that is available outside of don't leave your house. Illinois, back to stringent lockdowns. Again, Massachusetts, this wave is here. So expect to see more of these and expect to see more businesses struggle. The Hunter Biden thing, people ask me, oh, Chad, what do you think of the Hunter Biden thing? All right, and I'm just going to throw this out there. I said yesterday, I was going to ask a bunch of people, random people, like randos, I call them, about Hunter Biden and the emails. And so I asked some random people around here. They didn't care. But I went to the golf course, and so I hit a bunch of balls yesterday, and there was several people that were getting ready. There was like a women's tournament getting ready to be played at this little golf course by where I work. And I wandered around and, I was asking people, what do you think of the Hunter Biden thing? Nobody cared. And on top of that, a good portion of them really weren't sure who Hunter Biden was. Didn't quite know. They knew who Trump was. They knew who Joe was. But they didn't quite know who Hunter Biden was and what was in there. And the ones that did are like, I don't care. And it's not that it's not important. And I get so many of you you keep sending me. It's not that potentially, if he was selling stuff, if you will, selling his soul to benefit his child to the Chinese, that it's not important. The thing is, as I try to explain to everybody, when you're trying to put food on the table, when you're worried about the day-to-day of living, surviving, wondering why I'm getting closed down again in my business, wondering why my business is told you were operating at 60%, but now you only can be operating at 20%, wondering why your hours went from 40 hours a week and a nice salary down to 25 hours a week, and your salary's been not only cut in half, but you've also had to take a pay cut on top of that. Or what I got from a lot of people, wondering why, even though you can operate and work and do business, but you have to stay home 2 days a week, and then your husband has to stay home 2 days a week because the kids are at home and they've got to do class. And so it's funny the way that, like, why Trump wants foreign affairs? Because he wants to be able to go after Hunter Biden. He wants to be able to say, look at this. This was my kid. You guys would be all over it. And that's the truth. But to the average Republican, you wouldn't care. To the average voter, you wouldn't care. The news media and Twitterverse, they care. That's not the real world. So at the end of the day, people are looking for, how do we get through this pandemic? We're seeing a second and third waves in some places rising again. While it's not as deadly and it looks to have mutated and the viral load isn't as much, and that means we treat it much better. We've learned so many things. At the end of the day, people are trying to figure out, when can I get back to my normal life? When can I get back to a point where I can make my salary again? When can I get back to a point where I'm no longer living off my credit cards, or my wife and I don't have to rotate days off to teach our kids? That's what people are worried about on the day-to-day basis. All the other stuff, it's reality TV at this point. 323-538-2423, at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Tweet at me, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. AMAC, Association Mature American Citizens, fastest growing over 50 organization in the country. It's a conservative alternative to ARP. So they offer, like, so many different things. Like, you cannot even believe the discounts, the just the benefits you get with being a member of AMAC. On top of that, they're out there on your behalf lobbying and fighting hard for things like our civil liberties, making sure that our liberties aren't taken away, making sure that the men and women who represent all of us protect the Constitution. And they do a great job at that. And AMAC is just check out the membership deals, from retail, restaurant, hotel discounts to everything in between. If you need help with Medicare, they can help you with that. If you need help with insurance, they can help you with that. They've got a lot of different benefits they offer. And again, the fastest growing over 50 organization in the country. Find out how you can join and check it out, because I believe the first year's free. I think it's on me. Go to amac.us/Chad, 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 Chad Benson Show.
Being antisocial sucks. Hang with Chad's friends on Facebook, The Chad Benson Show. And if you just need some alone time, head on over to Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Either way, we can't wait to meet the real you.
We would like to alert the public that we have identified that 2 foreign actors, Iran and Russia, have taken specific actions to influence public opinion relating to our elections. First, we have confirmed that some voter registration information has been obtained by Iran and separately by Russia. This data can be used by foreign actors to attempt to communicate false information to registered voters that they hope will cause confusion, sow chaos, and undermine your confidence in American democracy.
Oh, what? That's DNI Director of National Intelligence. And the FBI, they called a big meeting last night. They all scurried together. Ooh, talk about Iran and Russia. We all knew that. So some people are getting emails. And oddly enough, I was talking to my uncle last night. He got an email. And there's spoof emails about voting and what may happen.
We have already seen Iran sending spoofed emails designed to intimidate voters, incite social unrest, and damage President Trump. You may have seen some reporting on this in the last 24 hours, or you may have even been one of the recipients of those emails. Additionally, Iran is distributing other content to include a video that implies that individuals could cast fraudulent ballots, even from overseas. This video and any claims about such allegedly fraudulent ballots are not true.
So what does it say? Apparently it says essentially that they've got your address, and should you cast a vote, you better have good homeowners insurance because they'll be coming for you. And I just laughed. He's like, this is the dumbest thing. Who falls for it? I'm like, this the same people that fall for the Nigerian scandal, right? Those people fall for it. Older people will fall for it. Here's the thing. At the end of the day, people say, we can't let them. They've already won in some ways. And I'll tell you why. Because when it comes to this election, the fringes, that 5 or 10% that is very loud, seems to always have the bully pulpit, seems to be the even though the reality is it's a small portion of people, but they make the most noise because we continue to give them the most screen time. There is a larger group even on top of that will agree with them. So probably 10% on each side. So that's 20% of the electorate. So 20% of people that are going to be voting will feel like if their candidate didn't win, it's because the other side stole the election. And both candidates have played right into it. If the other candidate wins, so if Biden wins, there are Trump supporters who will believe it was completely stolen from him. If Trump wins, it's got to be stolen from Biden because there is no way all these polls could be wrong a second time. It's just impossible. So Russia, Iran, China, North Korea, we haven't heard from them. I'm sure we will. Yes. In some ways, it's not about getting people to not vote or to vote or for a different candidate. It's about sowing discourse and anger and getting us fighting amongst each other and then standing back and watching. So in many ways, hey, we're done here. That's already happening. So if they can't take us down through any other means, they better figure out a way to take us down in another way. And what's the best way to do that? The way our founding fathers always worried, that we destroy each other from the inside long before anybody on the outside could get to us. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. What do each candidate have to do tonight to win? Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
All right, they're going to debate tonight. Of course, we have the excitement that is the mute button. It's the latest and greatest thing added to the debates. I would have preferred swords, but they went with the mute button, so this is what it is. Joining us now, Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research, James Kennedy. Jim, first and foremost, the mute button, who's controlling it? Because it's not Kristen Welker. I mean, I feel like who's that person? Like, do they get to vet him? Does everybody get to meet him or her? Or is it going to be somebody who's like, like the executioner who's got the thing so you don't see his face? I mean, who's controlling this thing?
I think you're exactly right. I think it is going to be the executioner. It's kind of interesting that the most talked about subject in a debate is a mute button, not the topics, not the candidates, not where we are in the polls, but the fact that you can mute candidates. I'm not really sure what that says about society in America right now, but I don't think it's a good thing. But yeah, no, I think it's going to be somebody who's an anonymous person off stage, and they're each going to, they're going to get their 2 minutes, and the other person won't be able to talk. And from there, I think we're still going to have the brouhaha going back and forth. So it'll be interesting. It's a question of, does this help or hurt Joe Biden? Because that means that he doesn't have any interruption. He's got to talk for 2 minutes on his own. He can't be cut off. He's got to say something cognizant for 2 minutes, which may not seem like a stretch, but nobody's going to focus on Trump cutting in anymore, and it's going to be all eyes on Joe for those 2 minutes, and nothing can save him if something goes wrong with one of his off-the-cuff things or starts talking about the war in 1938 or something.
Which God only knows he could. And so let's talk about the people. So tonight, 70 million, 80 million, 65, whatever it is. I've been saying tonight, there's about 1 million voters out there from Pennsylvania to Florida, Ohio to Michigan, and Wisconsin that they need to appeal. So about 200,000 voters in each state. What does Joe Biden have to do to make sure that he gets their blessing and vote tonight so it can put him over the top?
Well, he has to, sound presidential. He has to not scare people into thinking they're electing their crazy old grandfather president. He has to, also don't forget throw in Minnesota there too, probably for some voters, because that's looking like it might be a swing state. But he basically just has to look presidential and not go off the rails, not talk about the war in 1939, not talk about people's hairy legs. Not be crazy, and not also go too far left to where he scares off the middle of the road people that may be standing in the middle between him and Trump and that are labor union workers or something, that people that voted for Trump in 16 that are now kind of on the edge because of Trump's activities over the last 4 years.
You talk about the middle of the road. I'm still trying to find out, because we've had 4 years of Trump now. We've had 47 years of Biden. There's minus a younger generation, which tends to vote very left, as we know. Who's undecided at this point out there? And because I get it, if you're I was talking earlier, my brothers and sisters, this is their first. There's three of them. This is their first election, and they're younger. They're my nieces and my nephews. They've been adopted. This is their first election. They're asking me lots of questions about certain things, mostly props and things like that. But the reality is, I understand why they may want to peer in, but they've kind of already made up their mind. But who else over the age of 25 is undecided?
That's a good question, because it's been so much. It's not like you've been bombarded. Oh, yes, you have been bombarded with ads and TV and radio and newspapers and media online. One of the things you got to look at, though, is it a question of, are they undecided, or is it a question of, well, I like Joe Biden, but do I really want him to be president? Do I really want to pull the lever for him? Or am I just not going to vote because I can't vote for Trump? I think it's kind of down, for many people, it comes down to that. Same thing on the Trump side. Okay, I voted for Trump 4 years ago. He's done okay. The job market's gotten better, but he hasn't maybe handled COVID as well as he could have. Do I really want him for 4 more years, not knowing where we're going with COVID and where the economy is going to be going once this comes back? I think that's what a lot of what they need to appeal to are those voters that are just not sure if they really want to pull the lever for those candidates going forward.
Crazy. Talking to Jim Kennedy, Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research. Let's get to the moderator, Kristen Welker. Of course, Trump is, every moderator is a never Trumper, which, this is the way I look at this, Jim. And this is just me from, just quick thought. Yeah, probably. But when you say stuff like that, I know you're trying to appeal to your base, but you also say that people can have no integrity, right? Like with Amy Coney Barrett, just because, she has her personal beliefs doesn't mean that she's going to allow them to get in the way of certain things that she sees as the law written. And I feel that way when Trump comes out and attacks everybody, that, yeah, you know what? Kristen Welker may be a never Trumper. Her family may be never Trumpers, but it doesn't mean that she's not going to do a good job.
Yeah, you have to hope for that. I mean, you would hope that the Presidential Election Commission did select that in mind. But, again, you are going to run into most of the media is probably about, 75 or 80% towards the liberal persuasion. So that's, you're going to pretty much run into anybody who's got a name in the media is probably going to be like that. So you've got to hope that they've got some integrity. The problem has just been is that the media has been so much, it appears, in the tank for Biden. I mean, 92% of the media stories out there for the first year for Trump were negative. So you really, he acts paranoidal at times about how bad the media is, but unfortunately they have a lot of evidence to kind of back up a lot of it, where he's really, if someone's following me, am I really crazy for thinking I'm being followed? Well, it's a good question. Am I being followed? So not me, I just mean in general. It's so with Trump, it's, he's going to go down that path because, again, like you said, it ignites the base. It makes him look like a victim. It makes people, he hopes people are going to vote for him. But you got to keep your fingers crossed that there is going to be some integrity tonight on the questions, and that we're going to basically have a fair debate that gets the information out there for the American public and not something that just helps Joe Biden or the liberals, shall we say.
Talking to Jim Kennedy, Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research. All right, now we've talked about Biden. We've talked about the undecided voters, who he or she is, and of course, Kristen Welker. Now let's move to Trump. Trump tonight. What does he have to do? This is what I hear from people. I'm over the chaos. He lies too much. And even though the actions may be fine, I just can't stand it. I'm over him and the media fighting. What does he have to do to get those undecided voters that will swing it? If you go back and look at 2016, it was a few states and probably a couple 100,000 votes that puts him in power over Hillary Clinton. What does he have to do tonight?
I guess if you want to put it in Trump's words, he'd have to have a perfect debate. He needs to go out there and look presidential. He just can't be looking like he's arguing with the moderator. He's arguing with Joe Biden. He's arguing with the microphone. He's arguing with everybody. He's got to look presidential. One of the topic signs is going to be leadership. He needs to look like a leader. He needs to be the person that people want to vote for. You know, the person that is going to lead this country, the people they feel safe looking at when it comes to press conferences on COVID or press conferences on whatever. He needs to be the president, not Donald Trump, the New York guy that likes to argue with people and always wants to be a victim and always has a perfect phone call or always has the perfect plan. He's not perfect. He needs to, but look like he is presidential while he's up there. And he needs to convince voters that, look, I'm going to be here for 4 more years. I'm the guy you've got to have I'm the guy you should have your faith in. And I'm the guy you should elect over Joe Biden because, I'm going to do a better job than Joe Biden would do for the next 4 years.
To me, the COVID, obviously the response and the way he's handled it, mishandled it, whatever side you're on, you're going to look at it that way. And by the way, the roles would be reversed. If Biden was the president and Trump was running, the Republicans would be like, you mishandled it. And the Democrats would be like, it was perfect. The reality is this is playing a huge, 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 huge role in this campaign. But at the end of the day, when I see all of these polls, Jim, it's amazing because they're all negative for Trump until it gets to that other thing, the economy, stupid. Yeah, it's always the economy, stupid. That always favors Trump. How many people, no matter how bad it is, are still going to say, I still vote with my pocketbook?
I think a lot of people, though, it depends upon how much you've been affected by COVID. If you've just been locked down and had to wear a mask when you go out and you haven't lost your job and you haven't had anybody close to you who's died from COVID or have friends that know people that have died from COVID, have had any real personal stories on it. I think it's pretty much an economy. You're looking to go forward. We've got to think that we are somewhere close to the back half of the problem here. We're at least, past the 50-yard line as far as getting past COVID. And for those people, definitely the economy. Now, if you've had somebody, though, who's been affected, if you've lost your job because of it, or you've got a personal story or someone very close to you has died because of COVID, you might hold a little bit more of a grudge against Donald Trump. And I have to say that, I've said this from early on, that even if it had been Barack Obama, I don't think that I would personally have given a whole lot of blame to the president, regardless of who the president was at the time on this. This is something that really came out of nowhere. Yes, you have plans for it, but you've got 350 million Americans, and we're a freedom-loving, liberty-loving country that we're going to pretty much do whatever you wanted, regardless of what the public health consequences were. Unless you were literally like China and locked people in their homes, I don't think the outcomes are going to be a whole lot different than what they have been. So it depends upon how you're affected by COVID is probably going to influence a lot of what you're going to do when you go to the ballot box or when you mail in that vote this year.
30-second quick answer. Your gut feeling is tonight, is it another blank show, or is this more of a true debate where we're going to hear each one of them?
I'd like to hope that it's going to be more of a true debate tonight, and I think Trump knows that while he maybe the base likes him yelling and screaming at the moderator and Joe and interrupting, that he knows he needs undecided voters. This could be a very close election, or he could lose by a lot. It depends on how all of the numbers fall out. That he needs to look presidential. So I think we'll have a little bit more I think we'll have a better debate tonight than we did in the first one. And it's to be to Trump's advantage if he does. I think he needs to understand that. You need to look presidential. You don't need to look like you're in a New York street fight here. Be presidential. You'll get the votes. You may be reelected if you do.
Jim Kennedy, love talking to you. Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research. Follow him at Righty Jim on the old Twitter. Thanks so much, brother. Have a good one.
Thanks, Chad. You too.
At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. It's weird. I don't. People ask me every day. I mean, I vacillate between I think he can win to now Biden's got it to I think he can win. You go back and you look at other, we all knew Mondale was done, right? Like everybody knew, right? Carter wasn't going to get reelected. The Bush-Gore thing was a battle, but, Clinton won. He smoked on through. The Bush-Gore thing was a battle, but Brock was going to roll through. Last time was a surprise because I think everybody thought Hillary was going to win. But I think this time people are nervous on the left side of the aisle. Everything is lining up the exact same way. It looks the exact same way. The polls scream the exact same thing. Everything is lining up to feel like it's the exact same thing. And the enthusiasm. 15,000 people show up here. Over here, we got a smattering of people. Even before COVID, there was an excitement. I just don't know. Is there that 5 or 10% of undercounted, undersampled Trump voters who show zero opinion in public or to anybody else, but on that night, cast that ballot? We shall see. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Rough Greens, RUFFgreens.com/Chad. Best thing I've ever done for my dogs. It's, you try to give your dogs the best food, and we give them really good food. But the food that you buy, it's meant to be on the shelf for a long period of time. It's not meant to be, living and all. It's just, that's not what it is. So Rough Greens is not dog food. It's actually supplements. You spread it on top, and it brings that dog's food to life. Doodle loves his Rough Greens, and it saved his life. From his arthritic hips to his fatty tumors. I don't know how long he was going to survive because he was in so much pain. 7 months or so in, it's the most incredible thing to see the change in him. Probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9s, vegetables, minerals. It's just incredible what it does for him, and it'll do it for your dogs. I swear by it. Try it. $14.95 for a 2-week jumpstart. Go to roughgreens.com/Chad. RUFFgreens.com/Chad. Less than $15 for a 2-week jumpstart, or call 833-MY-DOG-88, 833-MY-DOG-88. Rough Greens, we make any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
Quibi, launched in April with big-name stars including Kiefer Sutherland in The Fugitive.
Let's go make our case.
But the short-form mobile platform has failed to grab viewers' attention, which isn't great for a company that took almost $2 billion of investors' money.
Now the company's shutting down, in part because consumer interest just wasn't there during the pandemic. Quibi may be able to sell off assets, but it doesn't look like any company wants to buy it outright.
Why would you? So if you don't know Quibi was, this is the way Quibi started. Jeffrey Katz, all these people got together. I think Meg Whitman was a part of it, and they got huge money, like $1.5 billion to get this thing off the ground. And it was done in such a way where you would have episodes of stuff that was consumable on your mobile phone, and the episodes were only going to be like 6 to 10 minutes long. That was it. 6 to 10 minutes. And it was going to be film quality. So you got big name directors, major stars. 2 problems with it. People are consuming things in all kinds of different ways, but what they're consuming right now are things like YouTube creators, content creators that are very basic but interesting. Not the stars. They're interested in that, in the way that they're consuming something like that. Second thing, you had no content. You had zero content. I signed up for 7 days so we could do a little trial run here, see what it was like. There was no content. Like zero. You started out in such a way where you wanted the world to come look at you, and all you had was 5 videos. And after 5 minutes, we're like, oh, there's nothing else to watch. Well, so why would I pay X amount of dollars? If you're going to do something like that, your content has to be so full of stuff. And it was just impossible with the way that you wanted to do things. At the end of the day, investors are asking, where'd the money go? Well, what'd you think? How much money you think they were paying those people? Insane amounts of money. Insane amounts of money. They were overpaying actors and giving them stock in the company. They were doing all kinds of things. And this is the perfect tale of what happens in today's world and throughout time in investing, is for all the things you hear about people hitting it with Apple and Amazon, know this, that these investors throw lots of money at lots of stuff, and a good portion of it ends up just like this. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet, text. You going to watch tonight? You're not going to watch tonight? You excited? Are you a voter that's still unsure about who you're voting for? Will anybody's mind be changed tonight? There's a lot of questions about the debate tonight. At the end of the day, I think most people have made up their mind. And I don't know if this helps anybody at all. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Without question, this is an all-hands-on-deck moment for the country, and we've seen record turnout and excitement in many parts of America already. I think that's an indication of what's to come, but we can't let our foot off the gas pedal, because at a similar point in 2016, it was assumed that Hillary Clinton was going to prevail, and there was no way that someone so clearly unqualified for office, who was peddling hatred in a variety of different ways, could be elected.
All right, let's talk about the hatred, because that's all he peddles is hatred. Left never peddles hatred. They're all about love, mercy, and kindness. You know what that makes me laugh? It's like they care about the little people. What? I love when people tell me about that's the difference between Democrats and Republicans. They care about the little people. I'm like, midgets? I know you're laughing, Phil, so don't pretend you're not. How offensive is that? So you think that they're little people. You think that somebody who is starting a little business and trying to get it up and running and make it a medium-sized business and grow it to a big business, but you care about them because they're what? They're victims? Is that it? Is that what you care about? Like the little people, the single mom, the struggling family, the little people. Why don't you just say what you are? We care about the victims, because that's what we really want. We want the victim vote. And the Republicans have done a horrible job conveying any message. Remember when they used to be compassionate conservatives? I'm a compassionate conservative. And they failed at that too. Right? That makes me laugh. Trump won not because he peddled hate, but because he talked about, hey, we're awesome. We're America. We kick ass. You guys. She's nuts. She's been in this business 3,000 years. She hasn't even driven a car in the last 20 years. She didn't care about you, right? She does stuff that you would go to jail for. We should lock her up. And there's lock her up, lock her up, lock her up, right? You're a pipe fitter. You're from where? Oh, you're from Pennsylvania. You're a pipe fitter from Pennsylvania. You're a union member. Fantastic. That's great. Used to be a Democrat. Still am a Democrat. But you hate the fact that even though you're a Democrat, it's because you vote that way because you're a union member. The reality is you go to church on Sundays. You support the Second Amendment. You're sick and tired of political correctness. And you want to make sure you have a safe job. Job. That's why he got elected. Now, the chaos that ensued afterwards was, well, It's nothing we've ever seen in our political history. Let's be real. But I have so many people say, you know the difference between the Republicans and Democrats? The Democrats care about the little people. Elves? They care about elves? No, the little people. Who? You know, the regular people. Well, why don't you, they just care about everyday Americans more than the Republicans? Yes, it totally shows. All Republicans care about are billionaires, trillionaires, and quadrillionaires. And I just roll my eyes. I roll my eyes and think, look, I'm the first one to admit the Republicans have failed. They failed with the African Americans, right? The black vote, they failed. They gave up. They gave up. They figure, well, you know, but the Democrats have done nothing but take advantage. Was it Charlemagne the God came out and said the reason Trump's winning with younger black males is because he's spending money there and they feel like they've had, you know, smoke blown up their butts for years. They're sick and tired of it. Let me tell you something. They care. First of all, know this. Every politician cares about numero uno first, just like you care about numero uno. They care about holding on to their power and their fiefdom. That's the number one thing that all of them care about. They don't care about anything else. It's themselves, personal, party, and maybe people, if there's enough left. They care about you when you get in front of them and you're going to give them a vote. I don't expect them to think about anything other than themselves. That's what I think about. Like, what do you think about? I think about things in my life. Right? My friends, my family, the personal things, and you want to do stuff and you want to help people, there's just a little bit different. But when I hear them, you know, them talk about, well, this is why he got it, because he's full of hate. And he's this, and I'm just like, it's such a bunch of crap. It really is. The difference is when I look at Trump, as awful as he can be, as cantankerous as he can be, the reality is at least he's a semi-half-ass straight shooter. He is. I look over there on the other side and, you know, and I'm not, this isn't even at Joe, because Joe Biden is, I have zero problems with Joe Biden. I would have zero problems if he was president of the United States, if the Democratic Party, the far, far uber left, didn't have such a say in what I think is going to potentially happen with his presidency, which scares me a lot. It does. But with Joe himself, no, I don't have a problem. We're so used to people being so prim and proper, and Trump is the exact opposite of all of that. Trump may stab you, but you know where he's going to stab you? In your face. At least you know it's coming. On the other side, they'll tell you everything you want to hear, but they'll never tell you the truth. Does Trump lie? Yeah. Is some of it hyperbole? Absolutely. Is some of it just the dumbest stuff you've ever heard? I caught a fish. What kind of fish? It was a great white shark. It was like he got a sand-toothed shark. It was like 3 feet long. Well, he did catch a shark, but it was a sand. You get the biggest audience in the history of audience. My book sold more books than the Bible. I mean, it's all a bunch of crap, and I get that. He's a showman. But what makes me laugh is the way that even when you challenge people across the board, it's so much now based on emotion. It's all based on emotion. Very few times is it based on fact. And if I'm Trump tonight and I want to win, and they throw things in my face, I throw it right back. You're a big racist. Show me where I'm racist. Show me where I locked up a bunch of people because of their race. Show me when you guys call me a Nazi. Where are you? No. Stop taking things out of context. Go read the entire thing. It's a bunch of crap. You know it. I know it. No matter how many times I damn white supremacy and the KKK, it will never be enough. Because you'll find another group that I didn't say about that may not have even existed when I said it the first time, but you'll say, well, you didn't damn them. So show me all the other things that I have done. Right? Show me. Did you guys do justice reform, Joe? Did you? Right? Did Barack Obama and you get some justice reform? You didn't. You didn't at all. You had a chance. How about the initiatives in the black community? Did you do those when you had a chance? No. Why not, Joe? Who supported the bill in 94, Joe? Were you one of the lead supporters of that bill? You remember that? Come hard. Challenge them. Challenge them. And if I'm Joe, I do the exact same thing. When people say, when they come after Joe for being mentally incapacitated and somehow he's lost all these steps and he can't, you know what? Show me where. So I talk for a living. I'm all over the place. I'm doing 1,000 things a day. I am, Joe, that'll be tough for Joe to do, but you challenge people. And when you start to do it with facts, people get very, oh God. So if I'm Trump tonight or I'm Joe, for Joe, you need to just stick to the script. Less is more. Less is more with you. They give you 2 minutes, take a minute and a half. 90 seconds. That's all I need. If they give you, the rebuttal should be quick and don't get in a tete-a-tete with him because it's not going to work. Don't lose your cool. Just be smooth. And if you're Trump, challenge. Say, you know what? Yeah, do I use a lot of hyperbole? Do I talk big? Am I a little P.T. Barnum-esque? Absolutely. I'm a salesman. It's what I do. Show me the other stuff. Show me all the stuff. Point out to me. Not just throw something out you heard on MSNBC or you read on the Daily Cause or the Huffington Post. Give me some stuff. Throw it at me. But when I hear so much of what goes on with why you should vote for this person or that person so many times has very little to do with facts, and it has so much to do with feelings. And even if the facts are in their favor, they'll still favor the feelings over those facts. Because we are an emotional creature. And too often than not, we allow our emotions to drive our decision making. So I understand. Tugging of the heartstrings, make it an emotional story. That's why Tom Rinaldi on ESPN, they always get him to do the emotional story because he's got that delivery. It's very emotional. They never have him doing wacky stories, right? They get other people to do that. But for him, it's like some people and it's about tugging at the heartstrings. Is there a good story behind this? Why? Because it's going to get you emotional. And if I can get you emotional, I can get you to react in a certain way. If I can get you to react in a certain way, usually I can get you to do something. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from you. Tonight, if I'm them, less emotions, more fact base, come at it straight. And Trump, if you're going to pull some numbers out about COVID, this, that, and the other, have those numbers buttoned up. Have those numbers buttoned up. Absolutely. Same thing with you, Joe. But less is more with Joe. Do a little bit less tonight. Go a little bit further. Raycon, best earbuds around. I golf, I work out. So today I'm going to do a little, I'm going to go play soccer for about 30 minutes. Then I'm taking my golf clothes. This park is huge where I'm at, and I just practice my pitching. But in between, I do my sprints. I do a bunch of push-ups, and I try to do as much as I possibly can in the limited time I have in between all my shows. But I love taking my Raycons. 6 hours of talk time. I charged them on Sunday. I still have like 2 hours left on them. I absolutely love the seamless Bluetooth pairing, a price point to match any of the super, you go spend $200 on something, and you're like, well, it's got to be this comfortable, this, that, and the other. I was on the golf range yesterday, watching guys hit balls, and a lot of them, especially there was 3 younger guys next to me, they all had the ones with the little white stems. Every time they swung, they had to push one back in, and push it back in, push it back in. Not me. No, these Raycons fit perfect, snug, amazing, nice noise isolating fit. It is incredible what you get with these. And the price point, Ray J put it together so the price point was so ridiculous. He wanted something that was better than everywhere else with no wires, no stems, better sound quality, and far less money. Well under $100. Get your Raycons now. Best earbuds around, the E25s. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. Get yours now. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Hashtag me too. Hashtag immigration reforms. Hashtag help. I'm trapped in a hashtag factory and I can't get out. The Chad Benson Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out
What's trending? What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending?
all kinds of stuff is trending and stuff. Little shout out to peeps out there, Lehigh Valley. Talk 106.9. That's right. Brand new, baby. Thank you guys so much. You guys are going to have fun with the show. If you're new to the show, you guys, I promise you're going to have fun. We'll make you think. We'll make you laugh. Talk about real stuff, but we'll do it in a humorous way. Let's find out what's trending on the old interwebs. Borat, obviously, if you've not seen the picture, Rudy Giuliani in the new Borat movie. It's just... And I'll say this. He's a grown man who is single, and she was a 25-year-old woman. Whatever happened, doesn't matter. Right? So, he said, I was tucking in my shirt. You were not tucking in your shirt. I've tucked in my shirt before. I don't tuck my shirt in that way. Quibi, if you don't know what Quibi is, don't worry. Nobody does, and you don't have to worry about it because it's gone. And I mean gone. And they blew almost $2 billion as they shut this thing down. I keep thinking, $1.7 billion. So here's who invested in Quibi. So it was supposed to be think of Netflix, but on a smaller scale for your mobile device only. And each episode, even though there may be, each episode is anywhere between like 6 to 10 minutes, no longer than that. And some of them are going to be standalone, like they had the 50 states of horror, and each horror would have its own, like, folk tale and stuff, each state. But it didn't work at all. It was just awful. But Disney, Universal, Sony, MGM, Warner, and Viacom all threw cash in, as well as Wall Street, Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan Chase. So, enjoy. We were thinking about what could you have done with that $2 billion stuff. Let's head on over to Twitter, where everybody's fighting over stuff. Amy Coney Barrett, decision to have a vote on Monday. They'll move forward. The volunteer who died with AstraZeneca's COVID-19 vaccine, now they believe that the person who died in the trial was part of the placebo group. So that could have been for anything at all. So, so as far, because, everybody's, when they do these trials, and they're up to the point now where they've got, 50, 60, 70, 100,000, depending on which trial it is, you get half of them get a placebo, the other half get the real one, but they're monitoring. Is anything weird happen? We're expecting maybe some headaches, some fever, a day where you might feel under the weather, but is there anything other than that? Like explosive diarrhea, your arm fell off. We need to know those things. This person died, but why? Was it because of that? Was there underlying conditions that nobody knew about? So now they think it might be a person in the placebo group, which means that, okay, we're moving on still. Moving on. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the show. Another thing trending is 12 days. That's where we're at. 12 days. 12 days. 12 till election. Doesn't mean we get a winner that night, but at least the win we will have, which will be no more ads, no more signs all over people's yards. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
a real dichotomy here of people who think that the policies for President Trump and what he's done, what he's doing, what he would do are on one side, and then what he says and what he tweets and whatever on the other side of the paper. And it depends on which side of the paper you're more focused on. Some people are focused on the policy stuff, and for those people, they don't care about all of that other.
Yeah. It's what you're going to ask yourself. Do you like chaos and craziness and 4 years of it? Nobody likes that. Even Trump yesterday, he was pulling out, look, come on, if you guys get rid of me, politics is going to be boring. Some people are fine with boring. I've always been, I don't care what you tell me. How many times in life have you been promised something amazing and somebody let you down? A lot. Or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that. And sometimes something happens. Something real gets in the way of that. Something very real gets in the way. But a lot of times you get promises across the board. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And then it never happens. And after a while, you're like, I don't even care. Trump's made a lot of promises, but all politicians do. Trump's kept some of those promises. And he's failed at some of those things. I expect that. I don't care who the president of the United States is. I expect those things. But by and large, if you're a conservative, you're like, he's done a pretty bang-up job. Right? He's done a great job if you're a conservative. Look what he's done with the courts. Look how he's taken on terror and went after people. Look how he's pulling us out of stuff. He's cut regulation. He's taken on immigration, but he's got a little problem there with some missing parents of kids that needs to be addressed. Look how he has done a lot of things with the economy. I gave President Barack Obama credit with the economy, too. But overregulation, he got us into more wars. I love it when you point that out to people. You knew he didn't, and then you go and look and say, oh, my God, he really did. It is, you have to ask yourself, is it the attitude or the action? That's it. Is it the attitude or the action? And I think for some people at this point, even though they may agree with the action, the attitude overrides that. They're just exhausted. I keep going back to that. He's that friend that will pick you up in the middle of the night when your car's broken down and it's 40 miles away, right? That friend that will go that extra mile for you, but at the same time, he's exhausting. He gets you in trouble sometimes. Your wife doesn't like him anymore. He's overstayed his welcome. And that's kind of what a lot of people feel, especially people with emotion. Because if you can compartmentalize all this stuff and not think about it and not listen to the television, live on Twitter, you can, you can get through this thing in a much different way. I don't listen to what the talk is. It's like even the things with like people throwing it every day. And what about Hunter Biden? What about? I'm like, I don't care. Like, bring me the proof of all of the stuff that you think may have happened, and then we can talk about it. Bring me all the proof, not what you think happened, not how you want to perceive something that should have happened, not the way that you're digesting it, but how all of that stuff. Not what you know, but what you can prove. And then maybe we have a conversation here, for real. But I see people all day. I talk to people all day who tweet at me, and I try to get back to people as much as possible, who text the program, who DM me on Facebook or Instagram. I try to get back to as many as possible, and it's tough because I get a lot. But what I see is people who get stuck in their echo chamber, and they can't compartmentalize anything other than what they want to keep out that may go against their belief. So this is what I believe, so I'm going to the place that affirms my belief, and I will now put up a shield to push everything else that challenges that away as all lies and nonsense. And the other side does it.
Is about words and not deeds. This exhaustion that people are complaining about are over tweets. Well, God help you. Turn off the damn Twitter machine, then, if you're so exhausted by Donald Trump. Oh, you poor little baby. You know, there is going to be a shift. It's going to be a shift from bad words to bad deeds. Yeah. Because the one thing we don't know about Joe is what he's going to do in the face of, like, the woke crowd. Worry about the deeds. Don't worry about the words.
Yeah. And I've always kind of been that way. Like, and in politics, look, they all promise stuff. And my thing is, can you deliver on that for real? Like, I never thought he was going to build a wall. I never did. Right? I never thought he was going to build a wall. To me, that was never like, I'm just like, it's not going to stop anything. I'd been down to McAllen, Texas on more than a few occasions, and I've talked to the Border Patrol. Can it slow some people down in certain areas? Absolutely. But I never thought. But I like the fact that he took on immigration in several different ways. I didn't like the way that he played out immigration with the immediate separation of family and stuff. I don't think we need to do those things. I thought that there was way better ways to handle that. But I like the fact that he exhausted as many areas as he could, because let's be real. For the subsequent years since amnesty and, Reagan's like, let's do this. It's a one-time thing. They ignored everything. I'm good with deeds. And I expect that you're going to want to do some things that no matter how much you want to do them, it's just too far away from the reality of it taking place, because there's just too many roadblocks and too many other chefs along the way that are not going to let you use the oven, if you will. Right? They're not going to let you bake anything, cook anything. They're going to they want their own stuff and they don't care about it. I expect that in politics. But when you say, the tweeting, I follow Donald Trump, and unless somebody tells me about Donald Trump's tweet, I would never know. Well, do you watch, Chad, you need to stop watching Fox News, or you need to stop watching MSNBC or CNN. You know what I have on in front of me right now? European Golf Tournament. I've read all the articles I need to do today. I don't, and I'll read more later, but I don't care what they're saying. If you live in a bubble and you don't want it burst, you're going to do everything you can to put up a shield. Do you want information or affirmation? If you can take the emotion out of things, and it's so hard, if you can do that, things look much differently. And many of you listening probably, when you don't have, like, let's say your friend has a bad relationship breakup, right? They've got a bad relationship breakup. And to them, it's the end of the world. To them, it's all of these things. To them, and you're not emotional about it. They're very emotional about it, but you're very, in many cases, what? Right? You're calm, you're cool. You give them advice, tell them how it is, because you're not, the emotion's not there for you. You're not vested in it. And that's what I think people need to do more than ever, is take a step back and not be vested in the tweet that he says, not be invested in what's on somebody's laptop that you don't know, that has nothing to do with your life, not be invested on any of those things, and say, can I look at it from a much different viewpoint? And if you can do that, you'll find out that things will go better. If you can't do that, then it's going to be tough, because every word you're going to hang on, every tweet, every ad, everything is going to give you some sort of emotion that's going to make you want to act. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Tweet at us. So we talked about that earlier this week, about this woman who went hiking, supposedly, and then was lost for 2 weeks at Zion Park. And I, along with my crack team, what's the first thing we said? I don't think this is real. I just feel like I can't trust these things anymore. I just can't. I don't feel like it's real. And maybe it is. And my skepticism, because everybody's been burned by these things so many times. So lo and behold, Sergeant Daryl Cashin, who helped search and rescue efforts, says, I don't know if I believe her story. I'm thinking no. Too many discrepancies. One of them says her daughter of Mrs. I think it's Courtier said, Holly hit her head apparently. And then she stuck close to the riverbed, so she had a source of water. But the sergeant says, not that water, where we found her, because she'd have probably died if she drank it for 12 days. Because it's pretty much poisonous. Then they're questioning how she survived with no food and water, and they're starting to say none of this adds up. Apparently, Holly Courtier left in the middle of the night, didn't tell her family where she was going. And what did I tell you, producer Phil, when they showed a picture of her? What did she have?
She had those eyes.
Those eyes. You know the eyes I'm talking about. Like, I don't know if I can break up with her. Why? Because she may come after me. Chad's not very nice. So they're not buying it at all. She had nothing with her when she went out for her hike. She had nothing with her. They said even when she said she hit her head and she got dazed and stuff, they didn't even seek any kind of medical attention. When you leave in the middle of the night, like nobody wakes up at 1:30 in the morning and goes, I'm going camping and I'm going to go to Zion Park and I'm in California. And her family said she'd lost her job. She'd been struggling. What did I say? Just feel like I don't know if it's true. Now, I'm not saying that something didn't happen, but I think maybe there's a lot more to this story than meets the eye. And I think this is the healthy skepticism we need to have. You could be skeptical, but open to it being true rather than some people who are just, they come at it with it's not true and it's a lie all the time. I'm healthy skeptic, which is I can believe the truth if you put it in front of me and it's real and it all matches up. But I'm skeptical enough to know when I smell something. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. She said she couldn't open her mouth because she was so dehydrated. And then yet she drank. It says apparently her immune system would have to be so amazing. But that was just not the case. She was too kind of like, she was able to get out of there like kind of on her own when they found her. And they said she would have passed out. I mean, none of these things add up. And other people that are also search say none of this stuff adds up with their family. And now they won't talk about it. I smell a fat bill coming their way. I just feel like you're going to get hit with the big bill. Just me. HelloFresh. Amazing. Last night, little slider burgers. Delicious. Oh, yes, they were. So what is HelloFresh? So delivered to your door, contact-free. So they've got, the summer's, it's gone now. We're into fall. They got new food coming out, a little bit more comfort food. You got the sliders, and you've got the meatloaf. You got all these amazing things. 22 chef-curated recipes every week. Low-calorie, vegetarian, family-friendly options. So my son Jack's coming out. So the great thing about HelloFresh is you can pause for a week, maybe you're going on a trip, or you can add extra meals, which is what I'm doing because Jack's going to come here, and my son eats everything. And so we're doing that, and that's great. More servings, more savings, which is awesome. 40% cheaper than shopping at the store. The food's fresh. It's easy to do. It takes about 20 minutes or so to decide what you're going to eat, follow the recipe card, put it all together, and boom. Cook it up and eat it. It's awesome. Get started today with America's #1 meal kit. You go to HelloFresh.com. Use the promo code Benson. $80 off across 5 boxes, including free shipping on your first box. Promo code Benson for $80 off. HelloFresh.com. Promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Deep states? No. Deep doo-doo? Yeah, the Chad Benson Show.
We live in a world, I'm going to say it, run by our smartphones. I'm guilty. Now? I mean, they're talking about what? The evolution of the way that we've found an extra something, that there's a growth in the brain. We're just, like all these things are, we're going to look totally different in the future at the rate we're going. When you look at aliens, and then they draw pictures of what people look like in 30 years because of smartphones. You're like, I think they just beat it to us. Like, they were primitive 50,000 years ago in the sense that they were like us. So we may be primitive to them. Like, we look back on, the primitive early man. But they've expanded, and over those centuries, after they got their smartphone and technology, their heads grew, they grew shorter, they became more rounded, and their hands became different because of the smartphone, and now there is.
Okay, so I was just wondering if anyone else has this. If you hold your phone with your pinky on the bottom of your phone, you'll start to notice a little dent between the top and the bottom knuckles on your pinky. This is called smartphone pinky, so duet this if you have this.
Smartphone pinky. How many of you out there hold in one hand and you're doing stuff, but later on during the day you'll start to get a cramp in your hand when you're doing things? It's real. Physiologically, we are changing because of this thing. We're going to have longer fingers, a little bit more hunchback. I'm telling you guys, it's happening. It is. So, did we, producer Phil and everybody, Anthony, did we decide on a name? Is it Ghislaine? How do we say her name? Ghislaine Maxwell. Of the famous hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein, kind of doing his bidding, Maxwell. All of that stuff came out today as far as all of her deposition, all the legals. There's 418 sworn pages of testimony. And what's in it? People want to know. What's going on with the Clintons? What's up with Prince Andrew? Did he know Trump in such a way that Trump would maybe want to... She denies everything. Pretty much is what you get from this is, and I've seen a few pages, it's 418 pages. Denies everything and lots of stuff redacted. So these are the transcripts and all this stuff. And part of that may be criminal investigations going on and certain things. They don't want people's names to be out there because it could be trials and this, that, and the other. But a lot of stuff's redacted. So it'll be interesting to find out if Mix Maxwell's stories line up about, I did nothing, I saw nothing, I know nothing, said the great Schultz from Hogan's Heroes. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet, text. Love hearing from all of you. If you're new to the program, thanks so much for giving us a try. We have fun. We talk about real stuff, real life, but we're not insane. Facts over feelings, kids. That's what matters. But we can have a smidge of empathy, too. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Although we sit on different sides of the aisle, we are both committed to American civility and a peaceful transition of power.
The two leading candidates for Utah governor are coming together with a message of civility.
I'm Chris Peterson. And I'm Spencer Cox.
Political opponents running against each other for Utah governor agreeing on this.
We can debate issues without degrading each other's character.
We can disagree without hating each other.
No, you can't. That's not the way it's done. Absolutely it is. It is totally done that way. Right? I like this. Absolutely. What a great thing. Hey, guess what, guys? We all want to get to the same place. We want a better life for our families. We want to work hard. We want to have some stability in our life. We would like to take some opportunities that present themselves to us. We want to put in the effort, and we want to know that we're here and we're going to do this. And these are the things we want. We want to protect our liberties. We want to, and guess what? The person over here has a different way of wanting to get there, but we're still going to the same place. We're still trying to get to the same place. And you can, tonight we're getting ready to watch a debate tonight that I don't, to be honest with you, I don't know what it looks like. Could they be screaming and yelling at each other? Probably. Somebody just sent me a hilarious meme. It said president. It said, "Hey Joe, blank you." And then Joe says, "Hey Don, blank off." And then the moderator says, "I haven't even asked a question yet." And that's kind of what I feel like goes on all the time. And part of that is because we've allowed the algorithms and social media to allow our innermost angry thoughts to be splashed out there and to piss people off. It's not a new phenomenon, by the way. Walter Winchell knew about it a long time ago. The ghost of Walter Winchell. You go look, famous journalist, he knew about it. Several other people back in the day, way back in the day, when TVs were unheard of, realized the power of emotion can get people to do things. We can disagree. We can. And quite frankly, it's healthy to have different points of view. Nobody wants groupthink. I always ask people out there, in particular on the left, because I got friends who are on the right. Quite frankly, they don't care what you think, how you believe. The people out there, oh, yes, they don't. They don't. They may love their candidate, i.e. Trump, but the reality is they care. They don't care what you do, right? They love their person. They want them to win. There are a few people out there on the super fringes that are just off the reservation. Yeah, that's real. But some people want the groupthink. And to me, that scares me. We should have disagreements, but we should be able to do it in such a way where we start looking at each other not as a person who votes against Trump or a person who votes for Trump, not as a liberal that hates everything that's conservative or as a conservative that hates all people, but just as, hey, you're a person and I'm a person. We have probably several things in common. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a discussion if we're going to. And let's do it in a way where I respect every ounce of your viewpoint. Even though I don't disagree with it, I respect the fact that you have your belief based on your experiences. All I ask is you do the same for me.
So let's show the country that there's a better way.
We have to start treating each other with kindness. And I realize that that's not a particularly original or unique message. And the fact that it's resonating, I think, shows us how far down the wrong path we've already gone in our country. We should have debate. We should protest. We should disagree vehemently, but we don't have to degrade each other, and we can actually solve problems working together.
You know what? And people say, well, it's kindness. It's not kindness. It's respect. I don't care about your kindness. I want the respect that I have a different. Because if you show a person respect, that's going to lead to the kindness. To me, that's the most important thing. You can just, and here's the other thing too. It's like one person's belief about a political thing, whether it's pro-life or pro-choice, is their belief. And they hold it dear. But it is one portion of who they are as a human being. And we don't treat each other as human beings. And the problem with politics in the modern world is the fact that we only look at each other as the enemies of my political belief. You are the enemy of my whatever. I could never do that, because that to me means I've got to allow that to live and ruminate in my brain. Oh, I don't like you because you don't like what I believe. And that gets scary. And that's my fear with the extreme left, is not only do they want you to believe the same, at times they want you to support it and endorse it or else. No. I will respect everything. You can hate everything about my beliefs, and I will fight for your right to have the freedoms to talk about it, but you to disagree and then want to take away my right to have those beliefs, that's what pisses me off. And that's what upsets a lot of people. It's about respect. You show respect, kindness will come. You show respect, respect will come your way. You show respect, you can start to make headways into building better relationships that may solve problems because both groups may have a certain portion. One has the lock, the other has the key, and they're fighting. You put it together, you can find out you can get through things much easier.
It's a little bit of a light in the middle of a dark political storm. Is the kind of thing that you can do when a race is not completely close.
Great to see those on different sides of the aisle coming together like this.
Well, our moms have taught us for years to play nice. This is a good reminder.
Play nice. Just play respectful. Be respectful of other people's views. For me, I respect other people's views. You believe in this, you believe in that. You believe in that, you believe in that. You do you. That's the way it should be. When you advocate for violence, you've crossed the line. When you want to cancel somebody's livelihood, when you want to destroy a human being, you've crossed the line. But if you believe in whatever you believe in, good for you. I respect that. And I will fight alongside you if somebody tries to take that away. I will fight alongside you if somebody tries to shut your voice down and try to make you change your beliefs based on the fact that they don't like what you're saying. That First Amendment, nowhere in there, I've looked it over on numerous occasions. It says nowhere in there where you cannot be offended. And we've now become a culture that lives on emotion, and because of that, people get offended. And if you get offended, now you feel that somehow, some way, some shape, some form, that the restitution that you deserve is to destroy somebody else's livelihood because you don't like what they are saying. That's insane. Well, speech is no, speech is not violence. Violence is violence. Speech is not. So-and-so said something, I now fear for my life. Because of words, you're going to have to grow up a little bit more. Right? If he advocated for your death, that's a different story. If he or she says, I believe marriage is between a man and a woman, or whatever, I believe in pro-life, right? Like, I believe the earth is flat, whatever it is, you need to relax. Emotions, gotta stop having those kind of emotions. I go back to this. This is all that you need to hear when it comes to emotions to realize that some people have lost the plot to the point where you're thinking to yourself, you're not dealing in facts. You're not dealing in any kind of logic. You're dealing strictly on emotions.
I'm terrified. Listen to me, Republicans. Listen. You are the people in history they warned us about. They warned us about people like you. Pay attention. We're losing our democracy. Wake up. Wake up!
That lady is not dealing in logic or facts. She's dealing strictly in emotion. And that's scary. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. My pillow. She needs a little My Pillow action for relaxation. Maybe get her some new Giza Dream Sheets. Fit perfectly on your bed. Egyptian cotton. What? Deep pockets. What? And, the comfort's like sliding into $1 million. 60-day money-back guarantee, different sizes, different colors. You know what? The feel is amazing. The fit is incredible. The fact that you can wash it and it still fits on your bed as opposed to washing it and going, this doesn't work anymore. This wouldn't fit on a toddler's bed. That's what I love about the Giza Dream Sheets. Now, you got super low 2-for-1 pricing. Go to MyPillow.com. When you do, use the promo code Benson, BENSON. Save big right there. It's 2-for-1 pricing on the Giza Dream Sheets from MyPillow. MyPillow.com. Promo code Benson. MyPillow.com. Promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, where we reach across the aisle and occasionally poke someone in the eye.
Well, I think the mute is very unfair, and I think it's very bad that they're not talking about foreign affairs. They're supposed to be talking about foreign affairs, and I think that the anchor is a very biased person. Her parents are very biased, but that's my life. In the meantime, that's the White House standing behind me, right? Mr. Trump, yeah, I do prep. I think the mute is very unfair.
Of course it's unfair. And no, you don't prep. Everybody said you've already don't prep. You don't prep. Well, yeah, I totally do prep. I don't think you really have. Now, the question is, what are you going to do tonight? How do you handle this? What can you do to make this different than the last debate that completely got out of hand and was a blank show, as many people have put it? That's it. What is it you do tonight? And everybody is throwing everything they can advice-wise at both of these candidates.
President Trump's advisors are urging him to highlight policy differences with former Vice President Joe Biden and present a sales pitch to Americans for why he deserves a second term. Some top advisors would like to see a less combative, calmer President Trump tonight, but concede it's an uphill battle, given the president will focus on Hunter Biden's alleged business dealings. Other top advisors believe that focus by the president will not help move any of the remaining swing voters. Aides have also encouraged Mr. Trump to not interrupt Biden as much as he did during their first debate.
And if you're Trump, that's it. You have to allow Biden to go. That's your best form of attack at this moment in time. The big question, though, how much of this really matters? How many people are going to be watching this tonight who have not made up their mind? Is it 200,000? Is it 500,000? Are they strategically placed in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Florida, Ohio? How many of them are there? It could be 1 million, 2 million, 3 million people that are still undecided because they like Trump in some ways, but they can't stand Trump. They don't mind Biden, but they don't want what the Democrats are offering outside of Biden, which scares them. And then they're worried. I don't know how many are out there. I would think there's less at this point because it's not like you don't know who these guys are. Biden's been around for 47 years in public office and in the public's eye. He was vice president for 8 years. On the other side of it, everybody knew who Don was going into this, right? Everybody knew who Trump was. We know who Don is, right? The Dandy Don, the Playboy, Donald Trump, all these things. And he became a politician. And we've had 4 years of him. Everybody knows. But is there enough independent voters out there in the sense that they are still not sure to make a difference? Or is everything already set in stone and we're just waiting to count it out and to go through the motions on that Tuesday night, which, by the way, is only 12 days away. 12. You got to love that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Your Twitter, tweet at us, text the program. I do love hearing from every single one of you. We're going to get into a little bit about the debate. We had Jim Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research on earlier. It said something very, very, very interesting about this. And we're going to talk about it. But now, what does each candidate have to do tonight to win? What does President Trump have to do to come across to the people that he deserves 4 more years? What does Biden have to do to say, look, I know you are worried about me and worried about the party, but let me rest assured I am here for the better of all of us to right the ship. And how can they blow it? We're going to talk about that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. If you're new to the show, thanks so much. Check out Chad Benson Show TV. That's the YouTube page. It says the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I guess if you want to put it in Trump's words, he'd have to have a perfect debate. He needs to go out there and look presidential. He just can't be looking like he's arguing with the moderator. He's arguing with Joe Biden. He's arguing with the microphone. He's arguing with everybody. He's got to look presidential.
That's Jim Kennedy, Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research. He joined us earlier to talk about tonight's debate. Look presidential. COVID. It's hanging over the country. Another wave. Illinois, Massachusetts, California. Places are shutting down again. You've got to go out there tonight and look presidential. You have to go out there tonight and absolutely strike every note correctly. Doesn't mean you can't be at times combative. Doesn't mean at times you can't be Trump. But you need to pick and choose when you're Trump. It's like a boxer. This is how I want you to box. I want you to go out, and I want you to let him kind of take the fight to you, right? But you defend, and you do it right, but you pick the moments you need to. When I played soccer, one of the teams I played on that was very good, we were counterattacking. We soaked up the pressure, but then we hit out. And our coach used to say, you pick the time. There's going to be times, 3 or 4 each half, when you have a chance, when everybody is go. Go, go, go. You don't be scattered all over the place. The last debate was a nightmare, and he does not have a favorable bunch of topics tonight. He wanted foreign policy. Why? Because he's done well with foreign policy. Well, our allies don't like us. Do you really care what the French think about us? Can I be honest? Do you care? The British love us. No, they don't. Yes, they do. They love us as a country. Well, and so, no, trust me. He's held some people's feet to the fire that needed to have their feet held to the fire. Some of NATO allies who for years we'll let America handle it. I like some of that stuff. That stuff to me is good. But he's got a lot of issues tonight that he's going to have to deal with. And he cannot allow himself to be emotional. And it's tough because you know Trump, right? He wants to come out. He wants to hit hard. He's like, he's a fat kid in a room with a cake. Nobody's told him no, and he hasn't eaten for hours. And it's his favorite cake. So you have what tonight? Fighting COVID-19. You have to tout your successes, and then you have to say, tell me, Joe, what you're going to do different. And Joe will say, I want a mask mandate, because that's what Joe does, right? You want a mask mandate. He said it over and over again. He comes out and says,
he still doesn't have a plan, but I do. I put my plan out in March. You can read it all online. Go to joebiden.com, and it starts with a mask mandate nationwide.
Okay, Joe, let me ask you a question about your mask mandate. Remember the last debate and town hall? What would you do, Joe, about masks? Well, I really can't do anything. I mean, I would like a mandate, but that's going to be up to the states. But I would invite all the governors here. But some of them may not come. So tell me, Joe, about your mask mandate if states aren't going to abide by it the way that you want them to. Oh, I never really thought of that. I never really thought about like that. And I'm totally fine with it, right? I get it. I'm not like, I would not, if Barack Obama would have handled it this way or different, and we'd still be at the same place that we are now. Because what do we love the most about being Americans? We have our liberties. We like our freedoms. We like the fact that we push back. You know, when you look at other countries, look at the way they've handled it. Well, the reason it's different for them compared to us is because we have 50 other countries inside of our country. All of them believe they know what's best for their people inside of their own little fiefdoms, i.e. your state. Whether it's Oregon, Washington State, California, Arizona, Iowa, Michigan, Minnesota, Ohio, Florida, New York, Massachusetts, Maine, everybody's got to have their own say. We like that, right? Some see California gone a totally other direction than, say, Arizona or Texas. New York went one way, Florida went another. That's what we're about. So you could talk about your mask mandate, but that doesn't mean that you're going to get what you want. So how do you differ, Joe, when, say, Arizona says, you know what, we're going to take a hard pass on what you want? Oh. And our governor hasn't had a mask mandate out here in Arizona. Now, the cities do, and most people I see are all wearing masks. But we're still seeing a rise. California is stringent. They're still seeing a rise. New York's seeing a rise. Well, it's not like the mask mandate's gone away. So tell me something else you would do. Well, I'm going to do testing. All right, so you go and you do testing. Are you going to leave it to the states? You want to have it federally? How are you going to go do that? How are you going to pay for it? What if the states don't want your testing? Remember, the Democrat states push back against Trump. The Republican states are going to push back against Biden. And he even said that. I'll invite them all here, but I doubt they'll come. So knowing that there's going to be outliers, some will show, some won't. How does that go from there? So what does your plan do that's different? Make him ask that question and make him answer that question and go from there. American families. What are we talking about? An American family. I don't even know what does that mean? It sounds like something that should be on NPR. Coming up next, American families. All right. So what is that? What is exactly does that mean? Like American families, how? I don't even know what that one. Race in America. And this is where it's coming right at Trump. Trump, do you support white supremacy? And he'll come and say, no, I don't support white supremacy. But you didn't say no, you don't support white supremacy. You hate it. So you're a racist. And then they'll get back and forth. And then you ask Joe about certain things that have disproportionately affected the African-American community and what you need to do to address that. And when they start talking about policing, which they will talk about policing, you get to the defunding part. And if I'm Joe, I said it's not defunding. In fact, we need to put more money into policing. We wouldn't do that with schools, right? Hey, these kids can't read. We should probably take money away and put it towards other things. You would never do that. We need to reimagine policing in a much better way. Then they got climate change. This will be a battle here. You don't believe the scientist. Wrong. And then they'll go back and forth about this. And then they'll say, we want to do more things. And then they'll say, it's like what, electric cars? Yeah, electric cars. Let me ask you, Joe, what's in an electric car? How's that made? How did its batteries get in there? And speaking of batteries, it's electric. So you want to get rid of coal. So how is it magic? Do you guys have magic? The Democrats have magic? Do you have magic? Is that how the car runs? It's on magic? And then if I'm Joe Biden, I come out and say, look, you know what? We want to get ourselves away from this stuff. We want to wean ourselves away from this stuff. And we realize we can't do it all overnight, even though some people are impatient, want it done overnight. But we've got to understand that we have a lot of jobs and we need to build this up the right way. So we build an infrastructure that's real. And so all of us can be safe by getting off of this and making the planet cleaner and greener. National security, they'll go battle back and forth, and I'm sure this is where Hunter Biden will come up, blah, 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 blah. And then they'll get to leadership, and then they'll say, you're the poorest leader in the world. And they'll say, Joe, you've had 47 years, and you haven't done anything. So, and you talk about all these things. But let's be real, Joe. President Barack Obama was the person that was at the top of the ticket. He's the one, if you want to talk about the leadership, we can have a debate. But you weren't because you didn't win at the time. And then they'll go back and forth, and both of them have a chance tonight. And the best chance they have is to let the other one speak more than they do. Great salespeople will tell you what. I ask a question and then I listen. Because they'll lead me to where I want to go. Same thing. If you're out on a date, make it a two-way conversation, but listen. Tonight, I have a feeling that somewhere along the line, about the 12th to 15th minute, it's going to devolve into a shouting match. And even though you won't hear the other one because they'll be muted, you'll still be able to hear them enough to go, this is frustrating. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Best thing they can both do tonight is to be quiet and allow the other one to talk. And if I'm Joe, you give me 2 minutes, I only need 90 seconds. That's how good my answers are. I need 90 seconds. And if I'm Trump, I challenge everything that you think is a lie by give me everything, and I come tonight with real facts, not stuff you saw on Breitbart or somewhere else. You come with real facts and numbers, and you'll at least have a chance. Now, whether or not it changes people's minds, we'll see. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Tweet at us. Wounded Paw Project. Speaking about things that are amazing, minds that need to be changed. If you've not listened to the show or you've not really understood what Wounded Paw Project it is, it's an organization that was started several years ago by a gentleman who came home who was wounded. He was struggling after being in battle and serving our country, and he rescued a dog. It was just a dog. It wasn't, it was a cool dog, but it was just a dog. And that dog changed his life. And he says, you know what? Imagine if we could rescue dogs, train them, and then get them to other servicemen. And since then, he's expanded to their families as well as our first responders. And they need your help. It is amazing what they're doing. And the dogs they rescue are all kinds. They rescue puppies. And they also rescue the ones that you would say, you got to put that dog to sleep, like dogs who've fought, dogs who were bait dogs, and change them into service dogs for veterans, first responders, and their family. You go to woundedpawproject.org. Find out how you can give. You can go to smile.amazon.com, set your supporting group up for them. You can also give cash, but what they would really love is if you have an unwanted vehicle. Maybe you've got one too many, something sitting out there. You're thinking about trading it in, selling it for scrap, whatever it is. They'll pick it up. You get a great tax-deductible gift, and the proceeds we'll use to protect, advocate, and train these shelter dogs and turn them into service dogs for veterans, first responders, and their family. Go to woundedpawproject.org. See how you can help. woundedpawproject.org. woundedpawproject.org. You'll be saving a paw to save a life. Chad Benson Show.
Get over it. It's time to forge a new path with your very own political cartographer, Chad.
You got a song stuck in your head you can't remember? It's so hard to figure it out, because how do you search that? Now you have a way. Try Google. The new search feature is hum to search. It's like Shazam, except you don't need to have any music playing. You can just hum the song or whistle or even sing 10 to 15 seconds of the song that's stuck in your head after tapping the mic icon in the search bar on your phone and saying, "What is this song?"
Yeah, that's I picture this to be frustrating, kind of like if you ever spelt something so horribly wrong on Google that it gives you like a different language. Not even close. You're like spelling something. He's like, how do you spell entrepreneur? It's E, and then it's like entrapment. No, that's not it. I know what. How do you spell? Okay, and then this is what I think this is going to be like. You're going to be like, do, and it's going to come back with like, is that AC/DC Back in Black?
The Google algorithm will identify potential matches, even if you're not exactly singing on key.
Just feels like it's going to be a disaster. I just sense that the power is not going to be with you on that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Tonight, the battle. What will happen? 2 men will enter. One will leave in one direction. The other will leave in another direction. At the end of the day, does anybody's minds get changed? That's the big question. How many people are out there that need to still have their one last look at them to make that decision? I don't know. Let's take a look at polling. Trafalgar Group, if you don't know who they are, arguably the best pollsters around. They're the ones who got it right in the last 2 elections to the point where they were 7 out of 9 in the most contentious swing states, Senate seats, where everybody else was lucky to get 3 of the 9 right. And when it came to 2016, across the board, 100% accurate. Wisconsin, Biden leads by 1. Michigan, Trump leads by 1. Florida, Trump's up by 2. Pennsylvania, Joe's up by 2. Much closer, potentially. What I do know is it's going to be, I think, closer than people think. And what if we get to that night and neither of them get over the 270 mark, which is a huge possibility? I don't know. What I do know, though, is in several states, Arizona's now in play, Michigan, obviously, Wisconsin, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Florida, Wisconsin. Are there enough people out there that haven't made up their mind, that haven't written it in stone? They've not chiseled it away, ding, 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 and put it in stone to sway it one way or another? Or are we just going through the motions? They're going to go cast their vote on that night. It's already said and done. They're not even listening or paying any attention anymore. And then we're just, all this is for naught. I couldn't tell you. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Going to be exciting, potentially tonight, just to see the mute button. I'm more excited about how the mute button works or doesn't work than I think what potentially may come out of this. I'm more excited about watching 2 men get frustrated over the fact that somebody who arbitrarily we can't see decides that that's the time I hit the button. Oops, I hit the wrong button. Oops, what about this? How long did you go? Do I hit both buttons when they've gone over their arguing time? I don't know. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Have a blessed day. I see Friday. Night-night, Jack.
This is The Chad Benson Show.